Bienvenidos, party people. Hello and hello. Welcome to another edition of the Strategy Session. I'm joined tonight by Joe Trippi and Stuart Stevens. As always, we're going to tear down what's going on in the world, give you guys our insights, whether you like them or not, on what's happening. And right now, our big story of the night, we were going to lead off with Iran, but I want to talk first about Virginia, which is hugely important tonight. So I want to kick this off. We have talked to some people who know this world. We've looked at the numbers. The ballot question in the great state of Virginia tonight is, should the Constitution be amended to allow the General Assembly to temporarily adopt new congressional districts to restore fairness in the upcoming elections? Bump it, okay?
Oh.
We were told that the greatest thing in the world in Texas by Republicans was redistricting. It was you had to do it. You had to be fair. You had to make the state as Republican as you possibly could. We're told the same thing right now in Florida. DeSantis is trying to pull the same thing. It's not going to work, but in other states, Republicans did the same trick. Well, in Virginia, they have turned the tables. They have decided if Donald Trump and his team are going to try to cheat on redistricting and play these games, then they're going to redistrict Virginia using the power they have. This is the way, my friends. If you're going to have bad redistricting situations in the country, you got to fight back. So here we are. There will now be one Republican congressman in Virginia once this is over. One. Enjoy that, guys. I hope the Republicans enjoy that big heaping of finding out. But let's start. Stuart.
Well, Texas isn't going to work out too well for
right.
them.
Yeah. Stuart,
I wanted to maybe getting in a fight with a former CIA officer isn't a great idea.
You know, she have an ability to think strategically that he and the
Republicans. Maybe they had courses on stuff like how to take over things at the CIA. I don't know. Maybe
call me crazy.
Call me crazy.
But I gotta say, none of this is anything the Republicans did not ask for on a plate. I wrote a bunch of pieces earlier in the year and late last year telling Democrats, like, if you do not fight redistricting with both barrels every day, they're going to roll over you and take the victory away.
Yep.
And so all of this comes down, in my mind, and I think I want to get your guys' take on this, is they are the ones who set these conditions. They're the ones who said this was fine. And now that it's happening, Trump is freaking out. He's power truthing. You must not let Virginia fall to the power of the Democrats. Well, all the numbers for early turnout were about 6-3 Democratic, and looks like the numbers tonight are going to be equally powerful. So we're going to keep an eye on this story, folks, but this is going to be a big night to ensure a majority in the fall.
Remember, MAGA thus far has never turned out when he's not on the ballot.
That is correct.
So we will see if that energy is still there for Democrats and independents, and
so
kind of lacking.
So educate me on this. I should know the answer to this, but you guys are smarter. It's going to go from, what is the current makeup? They think it'll go to one Republican?
It's 7 seats, right? Is it 7 seats? It's going to go to 1 from 4.
That's a good day's work.
Yeah, that's a good day's work. Yeah. And look, I am a believer that redistricting should be nonpartisan. It should be non-political. It should be algorithmically driven. There should be a formula, not a political process. But that is not the beautiful world we live in.
Yes.
If we lived in that world, it'd be a different story.
We would support the metric system if we lived.
Yes, I would. Hell yeah, I would give up freedom.
It makes more sense
to have that. Yeah, 100%. But
and the Republicans are against the lobster district, and I always thought they were for lobster. So
they liked lobster when I was around.
Yeah.
You know.
So,
well, guys, this story is, I think, one we've got to really keep an eye on. But in the meantime, we're also looking at an administration that is, their polling numbers are now so deep. The Marianas Trench is the equivalent politically. Trump is now getting into the very low 30s, 32 as of today. And it's all being driven by this incredibly insane war. So as of this afternoon, we have J.D. Vance going to Pakistan, then not going to Pakistan, then maybe going to Pakistan tonight. The Iranians saying they don't want a ceasefire, then Trump saying he's giving them a ceasefire whether they want one or not. Where does this stand with you guys? I mean, I think this cannot help Trump unless he fully gets out. And then I think it destroys him, ironically.
Joe?
Yeah, look, I think you got to remember going back to the people who, the 31% of Republicans who thought like ICE wasn't being brutal enough. That you can see in the way MAGA's looking at this thing, that there's a whole group that like doesn't want us. They want him to take out the Iranians. They want that. And then there's the other group that, hey, you told us we weren't going to go into forever wars. So I don't think either way. I don't think there's any chance this plays out in a way that doesn't continue to lower, literally, because when you're down near where we started out with, you talking about 32% approval. With independents, it was 27% in that same poll. So you got to wonder, how does it go any lower? And the only way it does go lower is if you start. Only 70% of Republicans in that poll approved of his performance as president.
Going great.
So the only way it gets any lower is if there further fracture and lack of energy on the Republican side happens, and I don't see how he avoids that.
Yeah.
I heard an interesting thing. My favorite Ukraine Telegraph podcast now has an Iran version of that. And they were talking about the unintended consequences of the Iran war on elections in Hungary. That it really split, that the right was against it in the same way the right is against wars, the same people. And that it wasn't just that it split a MAGA base, that they were attributing one of the reasons for the unexpected magnitude of the victory was a part of their base ended up sort of collapsing on them and just not showing up. And the J.D. Vance, they said the polling shows that when J.D. Vance came, they dropped like 10 points.
Listen, I said this on Katie Tur today. I think everybody who in J.D. Vance's world have been making all those phone calls to big donors and starting to try to set up the pregame for 2028. I think he will be the weakest nominee for president. He will make Al Gore look like a pillar of strength. He will be the weakest former vice president going into a presidential election, the weakest front runner we've ever seen.
I agree with that. I mean, I don't see, again, he's screwed because he's not going to be able to negotiate peace.
Oh no. Anybody who thinks that the Iranians respect JD, Jared, and Whitcomb,
the Persian Empire versus JD Vance. I'm going to take the Persians and give the points.
But the other thing here is getting back to the Orban thing. It's interesting. You can understand why Trump believes his numbers are sky high and he's winning everything, because his pollster McLaughlin
is lying to him.
Yeah, basically put a poll out days before the election in Hungary saying Orban was going to win handily, and then oops, and so he's doing the same thing. I used to be our office used to be in the same building as his, and I used to think he was back then a decent pollster, but I don't know what's going on. I mean, now it's cooking numbers or just flat out making stuff up.
I think he is in the same box as all these cabinet secretaries who've been telling Trump for a year, everything's great. Everything's great. Right. Everything's great. No one cares about the Epstein files, Mr. President. Okay. Yeah. We're taking down all your political enemies, Mr. President. Okay. We're going to win this. Venezuela is a great triumph for freedom, Mr. President. None of it's real. That's why he's suddenly firing everybody. I got a piece coming out tomorrow about this, where he's just going through the administration now. He didn't want to fire anybody at first because he thought it would give the media a win. But now he's firing people left and right because he's in a panic. He needs to try to change the subject. I don't think any of it helps him though. There's no world where this gets easier for him.
Yeah, I don't look. I mean, if you get into a war to change the subject from the Epstein files, and then you maybe get back to the Epstein files to help you get out of the war, those are like bad options, man.
Those are, yeah, that's not how you reset the table in this kind of thing, because America made up their mind a while ago about this war, and Donald Trump's
Rick,
daily gyrations don't solve anything.
As soon as the night the war happened, you wanted Lincoln Project, I remember, to come out with something on it. I said, no, we should wait 24 hours, see, because maybe it could collapse. And you were like, okay, but like, dude, this isn't going to happen. Trust me.
Right.
I know. And you were dead right. I mean, it's played out exactly like that. I mean,
Well,
and now that the people who didn't revolt against the regime when the first wave of assassinations, now that they don't have any water, any power, their hospitals are being blown up, their schools, the kids have been killed in schools. They go, well, maybe America is the great Satan.
Right. How does that work now to try to get those people to say, hey, by the way, the America's a better option than the Basij and the IGRC?
Yeah.
Hard to see it.
Yeah.
I mean, no fan of the Iranian government here, but hard to see it at this point. So we've got the Iran thing is going to continue to bleed him. I think, when Jamie Dimon is saying we're one tweet away from a recession, that's a real vote of confidence. I think all these things are adding up to the elections, in the 7 months from now, where, and look, I got to be honest, guys, in some ways, this vote tonight, it might take a few of our targets off our 26 list. We had 1 and 2, Virginia 1 and 2 on that list, and that may not be. We may be able to reallocate that now. It may be the 24 and 26 after tonight.
Well, no, because they're growing elsewhere. Like in Iowa, where I was.
Oh yeah.
When I was there, everybody thought maybe there were 2 seats that were in play. Then, while I was there, hey, there's 3 seats in play in Iowa.
Yep.
And now I'm hearing 4, all 4. So
you
will see. But I mean, in other words, the map.
Joe, it's funny. You and I have been talking about like Iowa, and I talked to some people in Nebraska pretty frequently lately, and they are like, "Do not sleep on 1. Do not sleep on the seat. It is real now." So let's go back. That's the new map. No, that's the current map.
That's the current.
That's the current one right
That's
there.
the current map, and that's the new map. Bye.
Yeah, so it looks like there's 11. Yeah.
You know what?
Pretty crazy.
That's a real shame. You know what? It didn't have to be this way. The Republicans didn't have to open this gate. If they thought that this was a smart idea back when they did the Texas thing, they were mistaken. And if they thought that persisting after Texas started to stink, that this was a good idea, they were also mistaken. I got to tell you, I think we're going to see, Stuart, you said one time, if Texas ever left as a red state, Republicans would be in favor of a national vote instead of an electoral college vote all of a sudden. I think Republicans are going to suddenly find religion on independent redistricting commissions in about 5 seconds after this map passes tonight.
Yeah, I mean, not since Appomattox is something going to go down to such defeat in Virginia, I think, really going to be crushed.
Also this week, Spanberger took away the tax-exempt status of Confederate memorial groups in Virginia. It only took 160 fucking years, so so taxpayers don't have to fund the lost cause anymore.
Yeah, I still go back to when Ben Nighthorse Campbell, got elected to the Senate in Colorado, and one of the first things he did was introduce a motion to change Custer National Park to Sitting Bull, and his thinking was, in America, we name things after the winner. The same with my, 7th generation Mississippian, we lost guys, and it's a good thing we lost.
Yeah, let's hang that one up. We've got some Hegseth stuff, because I want to go flip back to Iran for 1 second, just so you guys are aware. We can't feed our sailors on our aircraft carriers and our ships over in the Persian Gulf region. They're on short rations, eating basically mystery meat 2 meals a day instead of like having food because these geniuses didn't plan it. But Pete Hegseth has plenty of time to go out and join the anti-vax parade. Yeah. You don't have to get vaccinated for flu anymore. And you know, it's great that Pete's such a good historian because we've never had any problems with the military deployed overseas with flu, except during World War I, where it killed about 100,000 people, and then during Korea, where it killed about 25,000 Americans because they fucking got the fucking flu, Pete. I mean, this guy, it is. Do we have a clip of that? I don't know if we have a clip of that or not, but yeah, the point is Washington, in order the troops being vaccinated against smallpox, Pete Hegseth would not do that at this point. But I think the biggest story of the day, guys, I think the one we really have to focus on is Donald Trump's heroism. Donald Trump today told us a secret, and he told us that he would have won Vietnam easily. Apparently,
it's over, and it will end. When it's over, you know, they want it to be over immediately. And I just looked at a little chart. World War I, 4 years and 3 months. World War II, 6 years. Korean War, 3 years. Vietnam, 19 years. Iraq, 8 years. I'm 5 months. Okay, 5 months. I would have won Vietnam very quickly. I would have, if I were.
I'm not, maybe I'm missing the 5 months reference there.
Yeah, he thinks 5 weeks is 5 months. And look, I feel that way when he's living like every month is a year. But no, he doesn't have it. Although we do have a clip of Trump from his service during Vietnam. Let's play that. I thought we had a clip. Here we go. It's a good gag. Stick with us.
Are you an
The horror.
assassin? I'm a soldier. You're neither. You're an errand boy, sent by grocery clerks to collect a bill.
You know, the alternate history of Trump going to Vietnam is fascinating to me in many ways. If he had been an officer, he would have been fragged by his own troops.
Yeah.
Oh, shit. Okay. Well, I mean, look, folks, the show tonight has two big themes. One, there's a domestic political change going on where in the state of Virginia, a purple state for a long time, a state where Republicans had overperformed in a few elections they should not have, including, in my view, Glenn Youngkin, has swung back towards the Democrats. There's a reason for it. Donald Trump and Elon Musk fired hundreds of thousands of people in Virginia, especially Northern Virginia, where the votes are. There's 7 counties in the northern part of Virginia, folks, and they're about 65% of the total vote turnout in any given election. This tonight is the Democrats learning finally to play power politics the right way, and I think we're gonna be monitoring it. I think polls close at 7. We're gonna be monitoring this tonight, and we'll bring you more news about it. But I mean, we've got one other big story that I want to talk about tonight, folks. And I'm sorry I'm a little punchy tonight. I just turned in the draft 4 of my book.
That's a big day. That's a big day, man.
Yeah.
It was I spent 7 days, about 16 to 18 hours a day, slamming away on a big revision, and I'm a little punchy still. A little punchy. It's my new rap name. I do want to show you guys one more thing. One of our favorite people in the world, Ron DeSantis, has now decided he's asking Trump for a job. And the jobs that he's asking for, folks, are Secretary of Defense, Attorney General, or a Supreme Court justice seat. I believe he may get a seat on the unpaid National Tea Tasting Board
The Landmark Commission.
The Landmark Commission, right? The ambassador plenipotentiary.
Law of the Sea Treaty Committee.
Law of the Sea. He's not getting a damn thing. Susie Wiles, as long as she draws breath in her body, will screw that man over. There will never be a day where he gets a appointment out of Trump that she will not sandbag in some possible way. It's going to be magnificent. But so, guys, what other things are you guys watching for the rest of this week?
Joe?
No, I mean, look, I just keep looking at these state races that we're seeing poll after poll come out. And it's not just, I think Virginia tonight will be a huge signal, but you're seeing that in places like like Florida, you're seeing polls that have, both Jolly and Vindman competitive, even with some of them saying like not a single digit, one digit, like 40, right. And then you
inside the margin close.
Yeah. And then, Stuart, there was a poll came out yesterday in Mississippi that said Hyde Smith was in trouble. Like she was in the low 40s and underwater. So I mean, it's just what these are places you just shouldn't see those kinds of things happening. Right. Is all I'm saying. And it's clearly, like you said, Virginia, which is basically purple, swung a little red with. Redder than it should have been, but that's the massive swing back it's not just there, it's happening all over the place. Iowa, where I don't even know where Trump's favorable. When I was there, it was minus 12.
A state he won by 20 something, 22 points,
big.
Something like that.
Yeah, massive swing. And it's getting worse. Like I said, now people are talking about all 4 of those House districts are in play there. And a new poll came out with either Josh Turek or Zach Walz are 2 really good Democratic candidates for U.S. Senate there. Both of them are ahead of Hintz and the Republican in that race in the poll that came out like a couple of days ago. So Iowa looks like it's really rolling. And that's what I'm saying. Nebraska, as you talked about earlier, these are all places that, I can't wait to start seeing what's going on in places like Ohio. I haven't seen one there lately.
It's tied up, but I mean, considering Ohio, the last poll I saw had Acton and Ramaswamy, basically, I call him vivisectionist, had her and Ramaswamy tied like 47-46 with him ahead by a point. Which in Ohio, which was considered the reddest of red states in the industrial belt, that's a shocking moment, really shocking. Hey, Stuart, we've got that Elizabeth Warren clip that you had wanted to play. Do you want to play that, or you want to set it up?
Oh, well, there was this amazing moment. I don't know if you were watching, but I'm sure most of you had like a life you worked, but I actually watched some of the hearings today on the new Fed chairman. And I have to say, the guy they've nominated on the Cash Patel, Pete Hegseth scale is certainly an improvement. He'll probably be a good Fed chairman. He has some troubling stuff. He comes out of Stanford and this whole sort of cesspool of Peter Thiel. But Elizabeth Warren, in the way that she did, asked him a question. He has $100 million in 2 investment vehicles and refuses to disclose what is in those vehicles. And if we can play.
Yeah, let's play that clip.
Are you refusing to tell us if you have investments, for example, in vehicle setup to advance Jeffrey Epstein? Is that what you're telling us? You just won't tell us?
Senator, what I'm telling you is that those assets that you represent as Juggernaut will be sold if I'm confirmed before I take office and sign the oath of office.
Let me follow up on that.
So I think the answer to that is if you don't, is no.
Right. If you can't answer that question affirmatively, the answer is yes, it's bad.
And
it's bad, horrible.
So what he's saying is, look, I'm going to get out of the Jeffrey Epstein business before I become I'm going to make a profit and I'm going to cash out on the Jeffrey Epstein.
I'll cash out the Epstein material that I have.
I mean,
but after that, we're all good.
Say, I mean, it is. He also asked, like, do you invest in anything that benefited Donald Trump's family?
Right.
and he wouldn't answer that.
He got there was a humana on that one too.
I mean, so it's not a good look. And if he doesn't have investments in there, and before this hearing, he wasn't prepped that if you could ask this is not going to be a hard question, just say no, but it doesn't matter because I'm selling it. You don't answer it. Most of us can say we don't have investments with Jeffrey Epstein.
Luckily. Well, I will say one more thing about him. Hell hath no fury like Tom Tillis. And Tom Tillis has said, I will burn this place down before that MFer gets this job. I will burn it all down. And unfortunately for John Thune, he needs to keep Tillis on side on a bunch of other issues. And so Trump's Fed chair pick may go down in flames, and that's a job that you can't do the temporary acting government employee recess appointment BS. It's not going to be pretty at all.
No, Powell's going to be there for a while, probably.
Yep. I also heard that McConnell is not in favor of this guy either. So I haven't confirmed that, but I heard that earlier today, and I was going to chase it down. But woo-wee. Well, folks, it's 5:30 on the East Coast. This week, what else? The other thing I'm watching for is how Trump is received at the seemingly going to be poorly attended White House Correspondents Dinner. Now, the parties are popping. Renee and I are flying up Friday morning. We're going to go to a couple of parties. We're not going to go to the dinner, but I'm hearing reporters are abandoning the dinner in droves. So it's going to be Newsmax, Barry Weiss, and Fox, in the room, and pretty much everybody else is bailing. So.
Yeah, I haven't been in years, but the last time I went, I remember walking out thinking, the Taliban's not perfect, but they would.
At least it's an ethos.
They would know how to deal with this. and you have to say this, you say what will about the New York Times. They got out of the Correspondents Dinner business a long time ago.
Yep.
And it's an anachronistic, weird function that reinforces the worst of everybody's image of access journalism.
Yes, that is correct.
And
like I said, the parties are great. The party itself, the thing itself has become symbolically bad. Yeah. So, all right. Well, folks, thank you so much for watching. As always, you can catch Joe on That Trippi Show and the new On the Ground podcast, which covers some of these races you're seeing out there in the country. Stuart does not have a podcast yet, but we're going to make him get one eventually. I have 5. You should have at least one. But anyway, folks, have a great night. Keep an eye on Virginia. It's going to be fun tonight. Watch the MAGA freak out. And we will see you guys again next Tuesday. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks all. Take care.